Okay, hello and thank you for joining us. Welcome to Community Connection Hour presented by San Jose Public Library. During the month of August, we will use this time to hold a Back to School Speaker Series. Our focus today is on middle school and high school education. Our guest speakers for today are Katie, Ebony, and Robert from San Jose Public Library. If you have any questions, please ask in the chat and we'll be more than happy to answer them. We can take questions in English, Spanish, and Vietnamese. For more information about our programs, please check out www.sjpl.org. And Katie, you can take it away.
Great, thanks so much, Jeff. Let me go ahead and share my screen. And hi, everyone, and thank you first to the FLCs for having me here today. I'm really excited to talk a little bit more about a program I work with called SJ Aspires and some just college and career tips in general. So let me start my timer so I stay on track with my 15 minutes. But hopefully you can see my screen and should see a big orange Aspires hat on it. All right. So SG Aspires is a micro scholarship program run with the San Jose Public Library. And one of the cornerstones of SG Aspires is that we believe future success should become an intention and a reality for all San Jose youth. And in addition, we believe that each student deserves advising and financial support that create opportunities to pursue meaningful post-secondary education and or career pathways upon graduating from high school. So SG Aspires is an invitation-based scholarship program. And so what that means is we work directly with schools in San Jose to offer up to $5,000 in scholar dollars that students can claim and then use towards their post-secondary education. So you'll see on this slide that our current school cohorts that we work with are both Overvelt High School and San Jose High School. And so we work directly with schools. So unfortunately, students can't apply to the program at this point. But what SG Aspires does is highlights different guideposts to college and career readiness. So we work with students to say, you know, it's a great idea to join a club, or it's a great idea to check out this resource. And we kind of add different scholarships from $25 to $600 that recognize those activities. And so what I want to talk about today with you all is whether you're a part of SG Aspires or not, there's a lot of really great free resources that help make college a lot more attainable. So that's what I'm going to focus most on today. And if you do have any questions at any point, just drop them in the chat and I'll make sure I have time to answer any at the end. All right. So this is what I'm going to cover. First, we're going to talk a little bit about A3G requirements, which may sound familiar to you and may not, and that's okay either way. And then I'm going to go through a handful of different resource sites that are all free and have a lot of really great and really helpful information. So I just want to do an overview to show you that they exist and what you can find on them. And then if we have time, I'll pull down the PowerPoint and actually navigate to some of these sites on my screen so that you can see all the different things that you can continue to learn about on them. So first, the A3G requirements are the minimum requirements for the California public school systems. And there is a disconnect between what you need to graduate from high school and what you need to graduate from high school ready for college. And so if you are even considering college as an option, it's a good idea to make sure you're talking with your school counselors and making sure that you're meeting these minimum requirements. And you'll see, this is a graphic that was sourced from Chino High School, and you'll see that each letter corresponds with a class subject, and there's the minimum here requirements. So for A, for history and social sciences, there's a minimum of 2 years on here, but it's actually recommended that you do 3 to 4. And so just to be aware that as you're thinking about what classes you want to take in high school, how you want to spend your 4 years, that you want to make sure you're talking to your counselor and listening for that A3G requirement piece. Okay. And I'm not an expert on this. Like your counselors will know much more, and they'll probably say some of these words too. So the first website that I want to point out is Big Future, which Big Future is kind of like the really big hub for all testing resources, all college resources and college search out there, and it's nationwide. So it's not just for California schools. So on Big Future, you'll be able to find a really comprehensive college search site, as well as an option to actually compare colleges and compare pretty much every aspect of colleges along the way. So you can see what type of financial aid they offer. You can see what programs, you can see how big their classes are, their average tuition, all of that is going to be baked in. So if you're just kind of wondering where to start, I would recommend poking around on this site because it does have a lot of information. It'll also have a huge scholarship search site. So there is so much money that's available, whether it's in the form of grants, whether it's in the form of scholarships, and I'll talk about kind of the difference of what those are a little bit later. But they have a really great search for that, a lot of test prep resources, some career finding resources, financial aid calculators. So if you want help just understanding college costs, you can find all of that on Big Future. And this is one of the sites that we always point our Aspire students to. And then there's also a bunch of different blog articles. So if you ever read the San Jose Public Library blogs, there's similar ones on Big Future College Board that talk for really specific situations of, well, what if I'm undocumented and I'm going to college? What does that look like? And so you can actually find some really specific resources there. This next website is, I think, one of my favorites and one that is kind of new to me, which is californiacolleges.edu. So this is actually an account or a site where you need to create an account to access, but as long as you are associated with a school in California, you'll be able to log in and do that for free. So you just sign in, you put your student ID, your name, all of that information. If you're a parent or guardian, you should be able to also sign up through that profile. And you can filter all the resources if you're in middle school. So if you're at the very beginning of this, you can still log in and find a lot of really great information. You can sort by high school or by parents. And then they have it broken into college, career, and financial aid. So you can explore resources based on that. The vocabulary guide is something that I will pull up a little bit later because there's just a lot of different jargon words. So words that you're only going to hear in the in conversations about college, like A3G requirements. And this is a really good source that defines exactly what that means. So if you hear someone say, this is what, you can get a Pell Grant, this vocabulary guide is going to tell you exactly what that is and how it might be different from something like work study, right? So that's a really good place to visit. And then they also have a lot of free career interest profiles and career assessments, which normally people pay money for. And so just by being a student and having a student ID, you can get that stuff for free. The next one that I want to talk about is one of the San Jose Library's resources, which is the Silicon Valley College Promise Program. And so a College Promise Program it works with community colleges and tries to make tuition as low as possible and even free for a number of different communities and people. And so what this site will help you do is find out based on your own experiences, what programs you maybe qualify for free education. And so a super great place to start, and you can also compare all the different programs really easily. All right. And I see a question in the chat. Thank you, Victoria, about what's a good time for parents to create a profile on California colleges. I would say whenever you have a free minute. It's never too early to start thinking about colleges. And so it's always great to poke around, because even if your student's in middle school, there's still resources. You can still try and find out about maybe what careers they're interested in, and maybe should they cater their high school classes to that, right? So it's never too early. This next website is the Northern California College Promise Coalition. So this is a network of different college support organizations in the Bay Area specifically, and actually up to Sacramento too. But San Jose Aspires is part of the Northern California College Promise Coalition. So if you are looking for career fairs, if you're the kind of person who likes to watch, recorded videos, things like that, they have a really active social media that'll point you to all those things. So you can just follow their Instagram and then have all this stuff kind of right there for you. This past year, they did a whole webinar about describing financial aid within the UC system. And so they'll drill down onto topics, and they make all of their stuff publicly available. So they're a great resource to check out. And then this last one, it's similar to some of the stuff you're going to find on Big Future and California colleges, but this is actually a resource that California community colleges as a system runs. They have a career opportunities quiz that will point you to different programs within the California community colleges system. So De Anza, Evergreen, Mission, all of those different schools, and show you exactly what programs might get you to the career that you're interested in. They also have some really great information on what you need to transfer from a community college into four-year universities, and then some breakdowns of their financial aid and all certificate programs together. All right. So I've got a few minutes. I'm going to start showing you just a few of the websites that we talked about, because they're pretty helpful. But if you have any questions, please go ahead and drop them in the chat. So this is Big Future. Okay, yeah. So you might be getting an error message of when you're registering for California Community College. You can always follow their kind of help, like their help on their webpage to see. And then if that doesn't work, you can feel free to reach out to me, and I'll put my feel free to send that email a message, and I will try and walk you through it from there. So like I said, for the California colleges, there's the college page, there's different search tools, all of that, the career. One of my favorite things about the career tab here are these career assessments. And so, you probably have heard of things like Myers-Briggs or all that. But this lists a bunch of different ones that are here. So you can do the interest profiler or a learning styles inventory, multiple intelligences. So these are all really great resources just to kind of help find your way in general. Or if your student's really stuck and they're not sure what they want to do, this is a great place to start. Like if they like taking BuzzFeed quizzes, they'll like doing this too. And it'll give them some kind of great opportunities from there. So for the Promise program, let's check in time again. So for the Promise program page for San Jose Library, it just looks exactly like this. So you'll be able to go in and just answer the questions one by one for it to be able to give you some exact recommendations for different colleges. You see another question. Thanks, Victoria, in the chat. So what tips do you have for parents on how to begin a conversation with their child's counselor regarding financial assistance? So there are actually articles about that. on both Big Future and californiacolleges.edu. So you can search like conversation guides and things like that. But the counselors are really, they're there to help your students, and they have a lot of information to offer. And so I think it's just a matter of understanding where your child's interests are and going from there, because that'll at least give you a point to start to narrow down what their different paths can be, because there's just so many options out there. Okay. And I would also encourage you too to talk specifically with the colleges and universities that you're interested in, which that's kind of the last slide that I link out to here. We're going to go real quick to the end. So just start by talking. Also visit colleges, both virtually and in person. Pretty much every single college has a virtual tour, so you could do that from your couch today. There's also so many different summer bridge and prep programs. So if your student is in their junior or senior year of high school, and if they're interested in attending San Jose State, there might be a summer program that they could attend and learn more about it from current students, from different counselors. So always look for those summer bridge and prep programs that are out there. And then I know we've got other library folks. There's so many different library programs that I'm sure they'll talk about. And then I also just encourage you to ask questions along the way. The college process can get really confusing, but there's so many people who just have so much information available that they want to give and resources that they want to connect you to. So I think that's pretty much my time for today, but I'll keep on answering questions in the chat. Feel free to ask them directly to me. You can choose my name in the drop down of Linder, but I hope this was helpful, and I hope you'll be able to explore some of these different options.
Awesome. Thank you, Katie. Appreciate it so much. Awesome. Okay, and next we're going to have Eboni Harris.
All right. Hi, everybody. As Victoria said, am Eboni, and I work in TeenHQ, which is part of the MLK
branch, the downtown branch of San Jose Public Library. And I'm going to share my screen and share some programs that we've been doing with the 12 to 18 age range. Okay, so I'm going to talk to you guys about programs that I call my babies because I came up with them. But we do Teen Zoom Theater, and we have a Teen Career Panel series. And both of these programs, we have done a spring session, and now we've done a summer. And we're looking forward to doing fall programs with these as well. So I'm going to talk to you about the spring and summer sessions of both the Teen Career Series panels and our Zoom theater. So for the Teen Career Series panels, one thing that Teen HQ likes to work with when it comes to teenagers is college readiness, yes, and then also career exploration. So with the Teen Career Panel series, what we wanted to do was invite a bunch of working professionals from various career paths to come and speak to the teens about their career journeys, the struggles they faced, how they got started, how they got information, even learned about the career paths that they ended up on. And I chose people from careers ranging from engineering and technology to music, to life coaching, to filmmaking, just because I wanted a wide range of different careers that teens could pursue. Because one thing we learn about teens, a lot of times they don't know what they want to be when they grow up. They don't know what they want to study in college, or even if they want to go. And sometimes a lot of parents have ideas of what they want their kids to do. They look at careers and they say, okay, this is what will make you a lot of money, or this is what I did, you should pursue it. But that's just not what their teen is interested in. And sometimes you have teens who are passionate about the arts or sciences or dancing or anything, but they don't have any role model or someone to look up to in that field to tell them, okay, this is doable. It's not just a dream you see on TV. I'm a normal person. I might live in another city from you. I'm somebody you can reach out to and speak to. And these are the people that I wanted to relate to the teens. So some of our speakers, as I said, we had a dancer studio owner who spoke about, okay, this is how you become a professional dancer, but at the same time survive, because everybody knows the story of the poor starving artist. So I got a lot of artists on here to say, okay, we're not poor and we're not starving, but we are creating art, and this is how we went. So they talk about the business route, being dance teachers and studio owners, and this is how you make your income on the side while you're waiting for your dream to come true. You must be patient. And they really got into the nitty-gritty and spoke to the kids about maybe, of course, going to school, they getting degrees in things such as business administration, because you have to understand contracts and how to make your money grow to get certain record deals or start your own company. So they actually went into those sides of things. We had a filmmaker who also works with Epics and NGM, and she spoke about the extreme patience she had to have. We had the Operations Studio Master with Pixar Animation Studios come and talk about her career journey. We had an agent with the US State Department, and she truly loves speaking to young people about how to get involved with the State Department, especially if they have a calling for service. And she spoke about being able to travel overseas on the US's dime. And she worked with different government organizations all around the world. She actually worked with developing military police policies in Africa and Afghanistan. We have a published poet who actually has a 2-book deal with Viking and 60K Advance. Her book is coming out in 2020, and she's writing poetry about social justice. And she had a lot of naysayers tell her, you can't be an author, you won't make any money. So she loved proving everybody wrong. And when she spoke to the kids, she truly spoke about following your dreams. You just have to have a goal, and you have to have drive and commitment to want to follow through and achieve this career. My best friend is a NASA engineer who was told that she wasn't smart enough to be an engineer. She had a lot of learning disabilities. And also, and I get annoyed when she says things like this, but she's a beautiful bombshell blonde. So people are just, you're too pretty to want to do this career. Why don't you just be a supermodel or whatever? And she put in the time, got tutors, learned what classes she needed to take to help her achieve those building blocks to get to where she needs to be. So now she's an engineer.
And then I had a life coach and professional public speaker kids who actually had just about every career you can think of across the board. She was in the Navy, she worked in computer programming, she coached people working for like Google, and she just spoke to the kids and let them know it's okay.
Hey, Ebony.
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. I think we're having a little bit of a problem with your microphone. It's kind of like almost sounding like you're covering it and then uncovering it. I'm not sure if that's something that you can adjust. Or maybe if you could just get a little closer to it. I'm not sure where it is for you, but yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay. Is that better? Or?
Yeah, I can hear you much better now.
Okay. I just moved it a little closer. I'm sorry about that. I have an external mic I can plug into, but I have to get up to get it. Is it still okay?
It's kind of like breaking on and off. I think it'll be okay as long as you're like speaking really loudly, because sometimes it kind of dims the audio and then it'll come back. So it's kind of like flipping on and off.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I also just turned off my fan. Is that better?
Maybe it was focusing on the fan. I'm not sure. Just keep going and I'll let you know if there's more issues.
All right.
Thanks, Julie.
So, and I am sweating. I'm going to let you know I don't sweat. I glisten. But if you notice it, just know that I'm glowing for you because I've turned off my big powerful fan.
Okay.
So I spoke about the life coach who worked in just about every career across the board. And she really spoke to the kids about it's okay not knowing what you want to do and to explore different pathways until you find what you want. She's done archaeological digs. She's taught children how to read in Africa, so many different things. And all you have to do is have the drive and dedication and the want to succeed, and it's out there for you. And a lot of kids came on later and said, you know, thank you for saying that it's okay to not know what you want to do and to branch out and explore. So we're looking forward to continuing the series in the fall, and we're looking for more speakers to speak to teens from different careers. So next I'm going to talk about Teen Zoom Theater. Now this is truly my baby, and these are the productions we're doing. Quarantines was our first production that we did in the spring. We have the teens perform live on Zoom, so they can invite people to come and watch the program. And it's almost like a live theatrical experience, but not, because we have the green room effect where after the kids got through performing, the people who were actually in the Zoom audience were allowed to turn on their mics and ask the kids questions about the production. And then we stream live onto YouTube, so SJPL's YouTube channel at the same time. So I was actually watching both screens, and I would ask questions that were coming through on YouTube to the kids on Zoom. And they had a lot of fun. They invited a lot of their thespian friends from school who didn't try out for the production, who wanted to try out for the next one. And our upcoming production is called Gossip, and this is also going to be live on Zoom. Opening night is Friday, August 20th at 7 p.m. The Biblio Commons announcement just went up, so you can register to watch it live. And then after the flag performance, the following week, we're going to upload it to YouTube so you can watch repeat performances, or if you just happen to miss it, you can watch. Now, we created Teen Zoom Theater because due to the pandemic, a lot of extracurricular activities like theater were postponed. And we had a lot of artsy teens who were out of a traditional spring show. And it was especially sad for seniors because, you know, when you're an actor, you have to pay your dues freshman, sophomore, junior year. So senior year, they were expecting to get bigger roles. This was going to be their breakout year. And they just didn't get their spring show. So we had a lot of people audition for quarantines. We had a traditional casting call where we emailed the schools. We had a week of auditions where they came in and did cold readings. We had 6 weeks of rehearsals, and the kids would get their own props and build their own sets in their houses because they were filming from their bedrooms or wherever they could set up where it was quiet. There were some technology issues, but what we did was, you know, we would listen to sound and we would look at the screen and decide, okay, should we send you a microphone? Should you check out a hotspot from the library? And then we went on, and that play went so well that we agreed that we should continue this program. So we put on a summer production. And that one's Gossip that I told you a little about. We have a talented cast of 11 teens, and we had 11 teens for quarantine as well. And it's not that I'm just auditioning 11 people, it just happened this way. But we're really excited for the performance. And like I said, go ahead and register to watch the show on Biblio Commons, and I'll send the Zoom link out on Friday so everybody can get it. Now, we are planning on doing a fall production, so look out for future casting calls and other productions. And all the programs that I mentioned are aimed at the 12 to 18 age range. And I know you guys probably couldn't hear half of my presentation because my fan was on, but from what you heard, if you have any questions, I'm open to them now.
Well, first, I just want to, being a lover of theater, what a awesome creative idea to call it the quarantine. That's really cool. So as I'm listening, I'm thinking, is this shared with the high schools or with middle schools? Because I know a lot of them have theater or art departments, and it'd be great for students in those classes to know about this.
For quarantines, I did send out announcements to the local high schools and middle schools, and made sure that I emailed all the drama teachers to ask. And good. One of the schools actually said they had done quarantines before, so they were excited. Oh, wow. For Gossip, we kind of had a shorter window of opportunity to advertise, so we just advertised on our website and used our normal publicity channels. So that's I don't awesome. Know if it went to all the high schools, but I think it went to some because we had a lot of kids audition.
That's awesome. And what are some of the things that the students are saying after it's over? What did they like about participating in this?
One thing that they really said, number one, we have the seniors we didn't get our spring production, so we're glad to get to star in a show. They made sure they sent me an awesome headshot and bio, so their name and picture would be all over the program so that they can put that on their college resume for theater. But a lot of the kids were missing hanging out with their fellow theater nerds. So before each rehearsal, we would play like theater games for warm-ups and such, and they were just having so much fun fellowshipping with other kids like them. You know, even if it was from the comfort of their bedrooms, they were reaching out and talking to other kids, and that is what they enjoyed. And for some of them, this was their first acting experience, so it inspired them and made them want to look for other acting opportunities.
That's awesome. And is there a limit to how many students you'll take for each show?
So don't tell the kids. If there are any kids on this Zoom, hear this. But we have plays and they do have a set amount of characters, but I do not like telling kids no. If you bother to audition, it means you have an interest. So I will create something for you to do.
That's awesome. I like that attitude. That's cool. Okay, does anyone else have any questions for Miss Eboni before we move on? Okay, and if you think of something, just put it in the chat box. Thank you, Miss Eboni. Appreciate you.
Thank you. Sorry for the sound issues.
That's okay. You fixed it. And now we're going to turn it over to Mr. Robert Miranda.
Hi, everyone. So I'm here to talk about the opportunities we have available for teens to volunteer at the library. So presently, you know, we're all kind of sequestered in our own little pockets, whether that's at home or I don't leave my street or I'm only hanging out with my family bubble. You kind of get bored and you want to do something. So volunteering has been that gateway for people to be able to express themselves. I had a long conversation with someone just yesterday. They are a teenager, they're in a wheelchair, and they feel glued to their home. So they have become a virtual volunteer. They're able to do something, interact with the public using something as simple as Zoom. So I'm going to highlight a couple of creative different things that you can all do. If you have any questions, please feel free to add them to the chat. I will answer the questions at the end. Okay, let me switch over. All right, so team volunteer opportunities. Victoria, are you able to see this screen?
Yes, sir.
Perfect, okay. So first thing, moving forward, who am I? I'm Robert Miranda. I'm the volunteer coordinator, like Victoria had said, for the San Jose Public Library. We have a total of 25 different locations. And what that means is we have opportunities throughout San Jose. So each one of these opportunities, as far north or south as you live, they're looking for people just like you who have a skill that they want to share with their community. So why should I volunteer? I get asked all the time, mainly from people who think, don't you have enough people? Why do I need to do something? Well, it's not necessarily for you to do something for the community. It's what you get out of it. So you're able to be part of someone who helps to build a brighter future for someone else. I grew up as a child of, my parents were immigrants. They came into this country and they had limited English skills. If it wasn't for a very nice woman who lived in my apartment complex as a kid, who was a teacher, who would sit with me at a water fountain and practice my literacy, I wouldn't be where I am today. There's someone who really does help to develop someone else and make them the better person that they can be. You can all be that person, even if you're 14 or if you're 47. Anyone could be able to step up and make someone's life better by volunteering. So volunteering at the library is a great way to use your talents. We have people who have come to our library programs and realized, I have a skill that I can share. There was a woman who came to us who recently had a baby and was using baby sign language. Other mothers and fathers took note of that and suggested she create a program to teach others the same skill. She then ran a very successful baby sign language program. Any skill that you think you have, any hidden talent, you'd be able to share that with someone as a volunteer. You'd be able to provide a valuable service to the community. Think of someone who needs help posting something online or filling out a job application. Just being able to sit with someone and mentor them is a huge help. Sharing your skills, obviously, and meeting great people. Our library is full of so many different people from all walks of life, not just employed, but people who just come in to check out a library book. I want you to think about how the people that come to the library and all get in the same line to check out their books or use the computers, they run a huge wide gamut of someone who's a CEO of a company or someone who's struggling and down on their luck and possibly struggling with homelessness. All of these people all kind of come into the library for the same thing, our resources. And the biggest perk, if you have any library fines as a volunteer, they go away. Everyone else has to pay for them. As a volunteer, you get that added bonus of having them just magically disappear. And it's our way of encouraging you to use the library. So what do I need to apply? So one, you've got to be of age. So all of our team volunteer opportunities range between the ages of 13 and 18. If you're between the ages of 13 and 14, you could take part in Teens Reach. It's a youth advisory committee that gets together and comes up with different things to benefit your particular community. Once you become 15, you're then able to volunteer in a different capacity. You can come into the library and teach a program or instruct others on something, or become a library service volunteer. A library service volunteer kind of is a behind the scenes volunteer, and they're really doing the nitty gritty work at the library and is the #1 volunteer opportunity for resume building for a lot of teams that are, I don't have a job, what can I do? Well, you have a structured schedule, you have tasks, and we give you the application process and an overview of your job that really does allow you to show someone, this is everything that I do. It's just as good as having a job on a resume. Proper motivation. I want to make sure that you're doing this because you yourself want to volunteer. I don't want you to come to us, or worse yet, I don't want your mother or father to come to us and say, my daughter Teresa is interested in volunteering. If Teresa is interested, I want to hear Teresa herself. I want to hear that person come to us and say, I'm interested in giving back. What can I do? You have to have the right motivation to do it because it's a choice to be a volunteer. And I want to make sure you're making that choice yourself. And last, you have to be willing to contribute and serve as a representative for both the library and the city of San Jose. When you are a volunteer, you represent the city of San Jose. You represent the library. That part of it is crucial to thinking about who you are. You're not just someone coming in to help put a book away. You're not just someone coming in to show someone how to open up their first email. You are representing the city. That person then leaves and comes back and tells others about that first experience they had with you as a representative. So where can I find volunteer opportunities? So on our website, so sjpl.org/volunteer. If you were to go to our website, you're going to see a page that has a feature at the top, talks about why it's important to volunteer. And if you scroll down, you'll see the featured virtual opportunities. I want to highlight the bottom row. Although all these opportunities are available for a wide variety of ages, the bottom row currently are the most popular for teens. The first one we have here is SJ Engage. It's help make a difference in your community while unlocking real world opportunities. If you were to click on the opportunity, you're then taken to a page that gives you a more robust explanation as to what this volunteer opportunity is. So with this particular opportunity, you sign up and take online courses on 6 different topics. There's global climate change, gun violence in the US, homelessness and poverty, immigration in the US, and mental health. You sign up for this, you become part of this course, you absorb all this information, and then you present this information to someone. It allows you to develop yourself, learn what is going on in your community. The next opportunity I want to highlight is Teen Book Reviewer. If you're someone who reads, you're already doing it, you're doing half the job. You read a book and you gain volunteer service credit by just writing a short review on our website about it. The last one, Teen Writer for Short Editions. Build their collection of short stories written by teen writers. Our libraries are having these machines put in that are like vending machines where you put in, it's similar to a vending machine where you put in a quarter and you get a gumball out of it. This will be completely free. You press a button and select how long of a story you want to read, whether it's a 1 minute long story, a 3 minute long story, or a 5 minute long story. And this would be written by one of our volunteers. So if you are a teen writer who loves to write something, whether that be poetry or an actual story, you can submit your story through here, and it's like being published. Someone at the library is going to be able to get that story and read it. So all of these opportunities, like I said, are on our webpage. Down in the bottom, there's going to be a small little link for more opportunities. If you were to click there, you're going to have a complete list of all the different opportunities. So you're going to see 100 different opportunities. Find the ones that interest you. Click on each one, find the one that is the most tantalizing for you. I want it to be something that really does pique your interest. And remember that if you don't find something that's interesting for you, reach out to the staff at the library. If you know you live in the Alviso library community, talk to the branch staff in that location and ask, my name is this is my skill, how can I share that with someone else? Currently right now, what we have on the screen here is Almaden, and you can see they have book club leader, dance party host, film club leader. They have a couple of fun stuff here, virtual hobby and craft skills coordinator. Find what it is that really piques your interest, click on it. And as soon as you were to click on it, like I showed you before, you'll see a full description of it, and you fill out an application on the right-hand side. It's going to allow you to fill out your application if you're brand new. On the left, if you're returning, so if you previously volunteered, you just fill out the spot on the right that says, I already have a username. But all you have to do is fill out that application, and a person at one of the branches would reach out to you in about a week. Sometimes 2 if we get a whole lot of interest. So think about the last time you went into the library. It may be different from what the library looked like pre-pandemic. There's typically a lot of hustle and bustle and a lot of programs. I have 4 different teen-led programs right here. Not all programs, but different opportunities. So in the top row, I have library service volunteers. The gentleman on the top left right there, he came in to just help us put books away. He became a library services volunteer. Just needed to do it for a short while to get some service credits. The 2 young ladies on the right, they wanted to do this as an ongoing thing. Both of them told me that they wanted a way so that they could volunteer as friends together. They just came in and just tidied up the library together. They would do this for an hour and then sit on the computer and do their homework, and then they'd leave. But this was their socialization time and a little bit of a downtime before it was time to do homework. The bottom row here, I have 2 different guys that are hosting programs. So the guy on the left is instructing people on how to use our VR equipment. All of our virtual reality equipment is pretty comprehensive if you've never used it. So he'll guide someone, whatever age you are, will stand there with you and walk you through the motions of it. And on the right, we have someone who's teaching students during a math Olympiad program. All of these people had a skill, they had a reason to be there. I want you to think about what your reason is to give back. And if you're compelled, if you're passionate about doing it, just fill out an application and become a volunteer. And that's all I have. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Robert.
So let's see, we got some questions. What is a service credit? So service credit. So if I could get all the teams that are here, I'm gonna go ahead and remove the spotlight so I can see everyone right now. Show of hands, give me click on the little reaction button and give me a thumbs up if you are asked to complete certain volunteer hours in order to graduate.
Or your child is.
Yes, or your child. So, okay. So typically, schools are giving this assignment to their students. So Eboni will not graduate high school unless she has 50 hours. Julie will not graduate high school unless she has 10 hours. Every school is different. And then every parent is different, where some parents say, no, well, Ophelia is being asked to only complete 20, but I, as her parent, want to double that. I want her to do more. So that is what I know Eboni's in shock. She's gotten so much more. That's what a service credit is. So sometimes your schools require you to have that extra credit of volunteer service. Next question, how might volunteering help a teen with finding his or her first job? So the best way really is to become a volunteer, a library service volunteer. A library service volunteer is at the cusp of becoming a library employee. A lot of our library service volunteers end up passing through the library and becoming employees because they see great reasons to be there because they've done it for a good while. And even if they don't get a job at the library, it allows them to build up their resume because they're going to have a schedule. So I have, let's say I was a library service volunteer and I worked with Victoria. Victoria would let me know. So your schedule is coming after school. When do you get off school? You get out at 3:30. Okay. Can you be here 15 minutes after school ends? Yes, perfect. So every day you will start at 3:45 and you'll do 1 hour. I can only come 3 days a week. Okay, let's work on your schedule. Let's find out the best schedule for you. It's not what, that's the one opportunity that teens are going to be allowed to create a schedule for their work. Typically, the supervisor handing you a list that says, these are your days, make it work. Even if that compromises your extracurriculars, sorry, you can't play soccer anymore, Julie, big deal. We don't do that at the library. We want to make sure that you can still play soccer so that you can still have a life outside of what we do. So you're able to then impress people with a resume that says, I have a schedule that I stick to. I have said number of tasks that I complete. I then grew my list of tasks from just the 3 things I first started to now hosting a program with Mercedes doing XYZ. And then Ophelia at the neighboring branch found out about my program and I'm now doing it at 2 locations. That is key when trying to build up a resume. Any more questions? What if a student has an idea for a volunteer job? Bring it to a staff person. Any one of our locations. Right now, I showed you a complete list of all of our volunteer opportunities, and they're listed by location. In a virtual world, that sometimes doesn't always make sense because I could live close to downtown, but volunteer all the way in Alviso, and my parent wouldn't have to drive me anywhere. When things go back to normal, you may want to be closer to your home location because your teenager may not drive. And if that becomes an issue, how will that person get into the library? I do not want any of the parents having to jump onto 280 and then 87 to do a quick volunteer transfer of their kid. Doesn't make it easy. It doesn't allow that student to really have as much time to thrive. They've got homework, teens got responsibilities, and they have to factor in a little bit of fun. So finding the location closest to home makes the most sense. So if the location closest to you doesn't have that opportunity, knock on their door and ask them if they're interested in doing that opportunity. And if they're not, my email is in my little Zoom box right there. Send me an email and I'll reach out to the staff. But typically our branch staff are very open to, let's see how we can create this program. I had a teenager come to me who said, I suffer from social anxiety. I want to be able to talk to, he told me he wanted to be able to talk to girls, but it was talk to anybody. And he wasn't sure how he could do it. I asked him, well, what do you want to do? I want to teach kids how to do magic. Well, why? Because that's how I talk to people. If I do magic, all of a sudden the kids that typically bullied me are interested and they stand there quietly and they watch what I'm doing. And they say, that's cool, kid. And I'm like, well, then we want to spread that. We want more cool kids like you. So have those teens come to the library, find a way for them to thrive and make this program, we'll work with them to make this program as appealing to someone else so that they get a crowd and they get interest.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Robert.
You're welcome.
Before we move forward, does anyone else have any questions or comments? Well, I just want to thank each of you, Eboni and Robert and Katie, for coming today. I learned a lot and I'm sure everyone else did. And thank you for leaving your contact information. And please make sure that you reach out to our presenters for any questions, ideas, or comments that you may have. And make sure you join us again next week, where our topic is special needs, inclusion, and diversity. Okay, any comments, FLCs? Anything I'm forgetting, any announcements? Okay, bye everybody.
Bye.
Happy Back to Cool.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.